Welcome to NextGenEdu's AI Innovation Series. I'm here with Frank Neville of Millsaps College. We're talking about AI in higher education. How are you doing today,
Doing
Frank?
well, doing well. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, why don't you give us a little background on yourself and the institution?
Sure. So I'm president of Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi, and Millsaps is a private liberal arts college that has a long and distinguished history of producing leaders for the region. We have produced, in particular, many doctors, many lawyers, and so if you're in Mississippi and you go for health services or legal services, there's a good chance that you're going to be helped out by a Millsaps graduate. But we also have sent our graduates around the country and around the globe in various different sectors.
And it's a beautiful campus. I've been there, so.
And oh, and I should actually, I'm going to get in trouble for not saying this first, is the governor of Mississippi is a Millsaps graduate as
good.
well.
Oh, right.
And and the first lady. The first lady actually has 2 degrees from Millsaps and is a financial services professional.
Great. Well, let's start off. I'm going to, bring this to like the present question. Where are you seeing the most value out of AI, or has there been any gotchas you really like to share?
Sure. Well, it's early days, and I think you can project the trajectory of AI in higher ed in a lot of different directions, and ultimately we just don't know where it's headed. But I think wherever it heads, it's already a pretty ubiquitous technology, and so it's something that presents both opportunities and challenges, as does any new technology. I think the opportunity is pretty obvious and has been discussed quite a bit, but it's the possibility of tremendously greater productivity. And the challenge is a little bit more complicated, but how do you leverage the technology for positive outcomes? I think, broadly speaking. I think in terms of, sort of specific, tangible impacts at this moment, the 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 ability to leverage this vast body of human knowledge in a very, very efficient fashion is just really paradigm shifting. And it's something that all of us should be thinking about. How do we do that to advance learning? And I'll give you one example that we haven't quite done, but which I've been urging people to do is think about, so all of us have done courses where we have required readings and optional readings, right? And the reality is, sorry, but none of the students ever do any of the optional readings, right? And so but if you construct your own course page with sort of a bounded AI universe, and you take all of the readings, all of the knowledge that you as a professional think are relevant, to this topic, all the things that you cited in your PhD dissertation, all of the things that you've cited in your publications, all of the publications you've used in any class in your discipline, and put them into this bounded universe, you have created now a sandbox where students can access the very best ideas and the very best analysis in whatever field you have in a way that's just tremendously powerful. And so now to do that, you have to create this bounded universe in AI, right? Because the challenge that I hear from a lot of faculty members is, well, there's a lot of garbage out there. Yeah, exactly, right? But sort of part of what we should be doing as educators is teaching students how to think critically about any bit of information, right? So AI doesn't change the nature of that; it changes the scope of that, but it's the same thing. So I think there are opportunities and challenges there. The one final thing I'll say on this, in terms of something that has been a real learning for me, probably more at my previous institution at Georgia Tech, where I was tasked with, coordinating our initial AI strategy, and we separated into buckets of administration, teaching and learning, and research. On the administrative side, it became very clear to me very quickly that AI applications and solutions are um, very specific to the individual user.
Hmm.
And so just giving everybody access to AI tools and saying, go play and get better, uh, it was not very helpful. And what we had to do is sort of go around and look at specific use cases and um, start with asking the question of what do you wish you could do more efficiently? What is
Yeah.
it that bogs you down? What is it that sucks time out of your day? And start with those problems and then engineer from that AI solutions, to those things. And the AI solutions are usually pretty readily available for many, if not most, of those things. But the conversation you have with your accounting team is very different from the conversation um, that you have with your student services team.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great idea. It's putting it into people's hands and getting them to utilize it in a day-to-day fashion and make a difference. So I applaud you for that. As you look out to the future, like what do you see as a potential got you with with AI
Mhm.
that you're looking ahead at, and other people should probably be looking ahead at too?
Yeah, I don't know that I have any sort of brilliant, unique insight. I think the potential gotchas are the ones that everybody's talking about. The question of maintaining human control over technology.
Yeah.
Is a big one. Um, the uh, the ability now to go from um, challenges of information deficit to information overload, and what do
Hmm.
you do about that? Um, the question of what skills do we want our graduates to have? Um, and I'll boil that down to a more specific question of um, we forget, I think, frequently that what we're teaching students is really um, conditioned upon place and time.
Hmm.
The things that you used to know or you needed to know in your head when I was a kid are not the things that you need to know
No.
in your head now. Like, I don't need to know how to drive to the grocery store or how to get from, New York City to Chicago. Um, I don't, because I have a piece of technology that tells me, and I can be completely ignorant of
Yeah.
geography and be perfectly successful in navigating that geography. Um, and you can, again, calculators, which when I was in grammar school were cheating, and then they were required.
Hmm.
So we forget that, I think, because the pace of technological change um, has now accelerated in a way that is different from the past. So we really need to be thinking about separating those things that we want students to be able to do with assistance from technology or research sources or whatever, and those things that they need to be able to do in their head.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important discussion that we need to continue to have. I mean, we should always be having this, but I think now, the salience of that is even greater.
I think that's right. A friend of mine posted one time something about, do you think AI is going to make us dumb and obsolete? And I find it takes a lot of creativity to get it to do what you want, and a lot of forethought, right? And there's things you got to know in your intuitively to make the tools work right for you. So I think it's going to create a different type of intelligence or a different type of skill set. I think like you're referring to.
Well, one thing, and this is an open question, but we should be talking about this, is what breadth of knowledge do you need, again, in your head, in
Hmm.
your experience, in order to create connections? I mean, just think about the term experience,
Hmm.
and think about how that gets applied, right? And you say, okay, somebody who is new to this field or new to work in general, they're not experienced, right? And they won't be able to exercise judgment because they don't have a body of knowledge um, that's sufficient for them to navigate complicated situations.
Yeah.
Um, so the question then is, how much does AI mitigate that? How much can it mitigate that? Or, on the flip side of it, how much will reliance on AI erode that capability of navigating complicated situations based upon pulling experiences from disparate parts of your personal experience, or the things that you've learned, or things that you've read, whatever. So I think the question of will it make it dumb, is more sort of concretely formed in the way that I just articulated it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I thank you for your time during this interview, and I hope you had a great conference. And the CIC has been good to me. I hope you enjoyed it here too.
Yes.
And look forward to maybe having you back on a longer show one day.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on AI Innovation, where we explore how AI is reshaping higher education with insight, integrity, and imagination. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn or YouTube for updates and future episodes. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep asking the big questions.